What information or further information do you have on that?
Well, it's coming up to just more than a year ago that we all woke up after a couple of weeks of Nigerian youth demanding the right of, the police brutality, as is known, where many people wanted what we call a reform. I mean, not that the reform never came true; those reforms were happening, but what actually happened was they were not happening enough as fast as a lot of Nigerians youth would love it as well. And then after 1 year of so many deniers from the authority back in Nigeria, it seems they've actually now understand that the panel that was set up has already said what we need to say, what we need to know. But let me first play these 30 seconds, if not a bit less than that, of what we know regarding, the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said at that period when it all were it was quite a lot of raging as at the time. But this is what he has to say in 15 seconds.
We are comforted that we have not recorded any fatality as against the widespread circulation on social media.
Well, you heard him right there. Maybe I should just play it one more time so that we can hear it clearly. This is the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Recovery of the injured. We are comforted that we have not recorded any fatality as against the widespread circulation on social media.
So, what the governor said then is there's no fatality and there's nothing more than just a widespread of speculation on what we call the new media, which is the social media. There was a particular young girl that was in the forefront of that, protest as at the time, known as DJ Switch. That is not her name, but that is what we call, a social media name. She was the one that gave us the clue while she was live streaming on Instagram with live ammunition and killings. After a year, the panel have now come up to say there was truly 9 people killed, bodies nowhere to be found, and also people injured. Again, we don't know how far this is going to happen in terms of this particular conversation that is still enraging in the minds of millions of Nigerians from around the globe.
Well, listeners, it's quite an interesting one. I mean, the Lagos State governor saying that, well, at the time, somebody would say, well, we can give him the benefit of the doubt because maybe information had not trickled in on all that he was saying was what was coming from the social media platform. So somebody say, okay, let's give me the benefit of the doubt. However, Frank, do you think what the inquiry has come out to say, look, 15 people died out of that. And BBC is going further to say that it is the military that did that killed those people. Yeah. What actions or what recommendation has this panel been given to them? I'm not sure whether you've seen the
to be honest, I've not seen the report. I've not gone through the report. And therefore, the recommendations will not be something that I'm privy to. But one would have, now that basically the committee, and the normal thing, one of the committee has established that there was, killings undertaken by the arm of the state. Then the least you expect is that the committee should also follow up and make a bigger recommendation for compensation of the families, at least to basically compensate for their loss. It will not bring back the dead.
Yeah.
And then what we don't do, but which should be the most important thing, is to set for up or to come out with the way forward in policing such events. So in case there's another demonstration somewhere, who are supposed to be deployed? Was it the military? At what point? It's just similar to what happened at Ejura.
Yeah.
Are you getting me? Where peaceful protest was ongoing, the police and the military got involved and shot people dead, unarmed people, and those are this demonstration. Most of them, I didn't see any civilian demonstrating with arms. If they have them, I didn't see.
Yeah.
The images and the videos that came out, they were mostly unarmed, hungry, angry youth citizens of Nigeria, just trying to use demonstration to express their dissatisfaction, particularly with the police, the SARS group that have become domestic terrorists on their own citizens. They don't need to. They didn't need to die. They didn't deserve to die. Let's hope that the recommendation actually took that into consideration, compensated the family, and more importantly, set out modalities for engaging the forces in case there's any demonstration in the future.
What are some of the people who were being accused of telling, like DJ Switch? I mean, she was the one sending the images out that this is what is happening, and they were, I mean, tarnishing her image, just dragging her image in the dark that she's a liar, blah blah blah. What have they? How have they reacted to this this report?
Well, I've been following a tweet. She's currently on exile in Nigeria because as of the time, she has to run away for her life because her life was in danger by the Nigerian authority that were looking for her, according to what she said, because she spoke on one of the platforms where she's currently in hiding. But this is what she has to say some 14 hours ago. Shattered so many lives, tried to destroy mine, only for what you desperately try to hide to be made public by you. The truth needs no defense. Hashtag NSAS. There's a lot of conversation trending as number 2, hashtag Lekki Massacre. Number 3, DJ Switch is also trending. Hashtag NSAS is trending as number 1. So as we speak right now on the social media, 3 particular conversations, NSAS, Lekki Massacre, and DJ Switch. Somebody literally slept over her to protect her while the person took the bullet for her.
Wow. Wow. Well, listeners, Starr Radio UK updates from Nigeria. But some breaking news coming from Nigeria now. An explosion has taken place. Many people are feared dead after a gas explosion rocked Lagos in the early hours of Tuesday. The explosion occurred at Ojekunle Street in the Ladipo area of Moshin. Eyewitnesses reported that explosion occurred around 8 a.m. An official of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency said 3 dead people have been identified as of the time of filing the report. Well, we know that Yomi will be bringing us more update and as and when he has more details on that. Okay, now Frank was talking about compensation. The comment this report, this said that they should be paid perpetrated legal gains.
Provided they have identified the soldier, that's another thing. Because you could basically say the soldiers or the military or the workers by the military. And there's another thing, pinpointing who and then who was in charge and who gave that command. Now, I get me. If you are not able to zero down that, but I'm going to be very difficult for us to zero down that because the military from the one took a position of lying, pleading innocent. Yeah. They were not involved and blaming the citizens and the protesters themselves. Are you getting it? The police didn't want to accept any responsibility, neither did the military. So it's going to be very difficult unless this inquiry they did it. Well, that's what the inquiry did. Unless they did a good job. And I mean, I'll try and get a full report.
Yeah. Yomi, in the report, I don't know whether you also read it thoroughly. Have they said that these people who have died are going to be compensated? Did they recommend anything of the sort?
Well, I mean, we will have to wait to see, what kind of a recommendation is going to come after this particular report. But what I can tell you, Lagos panel member threatened to make content of report public if tampered. I will, however, keep observing the turn of event at the appropriate time. One may be forced to state the full content of the report if the promises made are not fulfilled. A member of the Lagos Judiciary Panel of Inquiry, Ebun Olu Adegburua, has threatened to make public the full content of the Lekki shooting incident submitted by the body to the state government, Babajide Sanwo-Olu government of Lagos State, if the promises to make it public are not fulfilled, the lawyer said in a statement. The panel on Monday submitted its report on Lekki shooting incident and the police brutality cases to Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. After he received it, Mr. Sanwo-Olu have now set up a 4-man committee to look into the report within 2 weeks and bring forward the white paper that will be considered at the Lagos State Executive Council and presented as the white paper coming from the panel of inquiry. There's a lot of panel, there's still a lot of inquiry, so we have to wait again another 2 weeks for the outcome of the Fundman committee that have been set up by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Here with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis in the North London studios. We have Mr. Olayomi Koiki there. Okay, now let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds. Now, controversial Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi has said that bandits terrorizing the country are ready to drop their arms if education opportunities and other basic amenities are provided for Fulani herdsmen at the grassroots. Now, we have Kano, we have Sunday IGBOHO, who are all fighting for the cause of their citizens or their communities being treated fairly.
Yeah.
Now, government is going after them like no man's business.
Yeah.
So why should government now head into these people and say, yes, Yomi, let Yomi give us a bit of a background to that.
Well, the damage of the terrorists to the country is something that, we cannot shy away from. While you were speaking, I was also coming up to World Bank. Boko Haram have caused economic activities to decline in the northeast of the country by 50%. This is just coming in from World Bank. Again, the World Bank has stated that the destruction caused by Boko Haram causes economic activities in the northern east part of the country to have declined by almost 50%. The multilateral institution noted that Adamawa, Borno, where a general was killed over the weekend, Yobe State, which are in the Lake Chad region, saw economic activities decline from 10 to 14% between 2009 to 2013, but also adding that the region has recorded 50% decline in activities as far back as 2018. All this was at the launch of the Lake Chad Regional Economic Memorandum that was led by the Economics World Bank and the co-author. So going back to Gumi, a lot of us know that he has been a kind of a spokesman to these terrorist organizations. It's not the first time that he has engaged them. He has been there to kind of negotiation between those that they were holding to ransom, being paid in millions of naira. But his report coming out this morning saying that maybe we should just give them a second chance. Maybe we should give them those chances and then we can have peace in the country. We know that this is not the first time he's coming out to say that, because at some point, some 2-3 weeks ago, he said, if you do not give them this amnesty, Nigeria will not have stability that we are all talking about and we are all looking forward to.
Frank, do we call it a bluff and then deal with them because of the way they are dealing with other people who are fighting the cause of their own community?
I think the person, basically the statement is not totally accurate and the demands cannot justify in a certain way. Let's accept that provision of education for all Nigerians is something that the government must take seriously.
Of course.
And it's a fundamental right for all of them to enjoy some decency when it comes to education. It's not about zeroing down, but if some particular groups of people are particularly deprived because of their location, because of factors that have colonial underpinnings and other things, then it is right to call on government to be able to expedite that action or probably provide more. I mean, this country we're talking about leveling up and other things. Now, but we need to be able to separate the Fulani herdsmen or and then the Boko Haram. Okay, if you lump them together, it's going to be a problem because one, Boko Haram, their position that they don't want formal education. So when you call it, when you call on government to provide education opportunity and this, are you asking government to go and establish Islamic schools for these people? Because that is what they oppose. Because Boko Haram, they say they don't want formal education. They don't want to be educated formally. Are you getting me? If that is the case, then the call is, neither here or there, because the people you want to provide some of those things for say they don't want it.
Yeah.
Engagement needs to come in for them to come to a point where they know that, look, even what the medium they are using to say they don't want education actually came
Out of education.
Out of education. The other thing is the Fulani. We've not come to a point where the Fulani have accepted the fact, the majority of headsmen have accepted the fact that, you know what, we no more, no matter, we're not going to move from one location to another, where you're able to provide institute facilities for them, schools and other things, where they belong to a community, you know, that's it. So, I mean, they are still normal moving from one location, and that's why the problem has been when they move to people's farm, people's land, destroy people's, crops and other things. The other thing is, actually, I do not think the provision of or lack of education, good education facilities and job opportunities is something that is unique with Fulani and the Boko Haram. Because there are people who are Southeast, there are people who are graduates who have also not gotten jobs.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's a good call. I mean, we all have to call on government to do more, but we cannot get to a point where we think that we disproportionately going to be profiting some people at the expense of the others. Yes, I do understand where the gap is so wide that you do say you engineer process positive discrimination to be able to bridge the gap a bit. That is fine, but what you are looking over here are very, very different situations.
Yomi, when it comes to Nigeria, do you have free basic education for citizens or what?
Maybe during the regional government of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, I left the secondary school in 1995, and as at the time I was paying, what we called a kind of a tuition fee. That has even increased, that has now made millions of Nigerians to opt out of education. Going into the tertiary or the higher institution has also become very, very expensive. As we speak, even in Ondo State in the Southwest, there's a tussle between the governor and some of the students in regarding increments in the university fee, and we saw there was a blockage somewhere in the Southeast as well, where students literally blocked the highway because there was increment in the university fee. There's no bursary, there's no loan facility. That means your parent would have to work very hard, or a kind of a friendship on Facebook or social media that can guarantee you're finishing out of the university, even if the university is not on a strike for a very, very long time, because we know ASU is already threatening the federal government of Nigeria.
And even when you have completed, as whether you get a job to go to as well is another problem. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios and Mr. Frank Davis here in the South studios. I'm Archie. Okay, let's go to Yomi for some of the other stories. Over to you, Yomi.
27 minutes past the hour, 16th of November 2021. Back to the headline. Ikoyi building engineers unveil preliminary report, suspected structural distress and others. We know that the Ikoyi building that went like a sandwich has now a preliminary, according to the engineer, of a suspect structural distress. Troops have avenged a general death and killed over 50 terrorists in Borno State. It's coming from the headline. Justice Inyako should rescue herself from Kano's case, says IPOB Leader Council. According to the story, the leader of IPOB that was recently at the court of Abuja last week, Wednesday, Ifeanyi Ejimofo, the lead counsel for the leader of the proscribed, according to the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has moved to ask Justice Binta Inyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja to rescue herself from the trial of his client. He also stated that contrary to report, the legal team, which he led, not a stage a walkout from the court during Kano's trial on November 10, following a refusal of the operatives of the Department of State Service to allow them gain access into the courtroom. You were just talking about the gas explosion which took place in the southwest of Nigeria in Lagos State precisely. Yes, we know that 3 people have died, more people have injured. This took place according to the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, confirming the incident to the news media back home. According to the official, first respondent have been deployed to the site of the explosion. Ladipo is a very popular area where this incident happened. The director of the Lagos State Fire Rescue Service, Margaret also confirmed that 3 persons have lost their lives. In an emergency alert, Adesheye identified the victim as all 3 male adults. She wrote, the Lagos State Fire Service is currently attending to a gas explosion at number 21 Ojekunle Street, Ladipo, Mushin in Lagos. This happened just before 9 o'clock this morning. We don't know the cause of the fire, as preliminary investigation to establish the fact is currently ongoing. Let's touch on some other headline as well. Also, shop stacked with gas cylinder caused the Ladipo explosion. This is now coming as well as a current update as well. There's still a lot in terms of the conversation around the preliminary report. One of the those that were also present during that, there was quite a lot of celebrity, artists and all sorts. All recommendation must be fully implemented according to FAST speaks on the Lagos panel of the report. Let's now also talk about a very sad incident of a young Nigerian that have eventually died in Ivory Coast because of the negligence, according to a report from the federal government. But it seems the federal government has now moved into action, even though they are still trying to now bring the dead body of this young Nigerian back to Nigeria from Cote d'Ivoire. Federal government demand full investigation into the death of Nigerian in Cote d'Ivoire. According to the federal government, has demand a full autopsy of Itunu Babakola, a Nigerian sentenced to 20 years imprisonment in Cote d'Ivoire for alleged human trafficking, but suddenly and mysteriously died in the prison. This demand for that forensic was contained in a statement signed by the chairman Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NICON, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, yesterday, while stating that the attention of NICON was drawn to Itunu's case about 5 months ago. How come now a lot of Nigerians are very upset with another death of another Nigerian outside Nigeria? And the question this morning during one of our special broadcasts was, who is responsible for the welfare of Nigerians both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria? And the response has always been, there's never been a welfare since the last 61 years of the government, whether this present government or the previous government, as we discussed. We're going to take one more from the business section, and then we're going to come back again to you in the studio. It is still Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Inflation rate declines again despite rising prices. I was watching a young Nigerian yesterday that was interviewed on the street of Lagos, I believe, where he said vegetable that was 20 naira has now become 200 naira. And to make that 200 naira is becoming more very difficult. The National Bureau of Statistics on Monday have disclosed that the nation's inflation rate fell between 15.99% in October to 16.36% in September, according to its Consumer Price Index. This October figure shows a steady decline in the country's inflation rate over a 7-month period from just the beginning of April this year. The decline is amid complaint of surge in price of goods and services by Nigerians. In the recent years, the skyrocketing food prices in major cities across the country were being reported with adverse effect of household budget. The activities of the insurgency in the country, which is where most of the food stuff is coming from in the north, and the pocket of distinction of other areas in the southwest and the southeast, where we have the clashes of the terrorists also operating between some of the farms. That means a lot of people have now abandoned most of their projects on the farm. But the National Bureau of Statistics in its latest report claimed that inflation rate have just fallen by about 0.36% from 16.36%. So we have to say what happened next. Is 11:33 Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. Now let's look at a couple of the stories in there. Now, the fact that lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu are calling for the judge to recuse himself from the case. Now, this is a case where the lawyer, when the DSS came in, without Kanu's lawyers, and said that go on with the case, he said, no, I'm not going to go on with the case, and that I'm going to adjourn the case. So somebody will say that he is doing the right thing, he's fighting the cause. I mean, if he was somehow biased, I wouldn't say that, but somehow biased inside understand, he would have just said, let's just go on. Yomi.
Yes, I hope you can hear me back.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're quite right. You would expect that, the DSS, what could have been the reason for locking the door behind, the legal representatives that are still outside, the premises. I mean, they're literally in the court premises, but it seems, the door to the court has now been locked. Yes, you're quite right. The judge must have, I'm not sure whether the judge should have a say on that as well. Maybe the judge could have allowed them to come in and let the court case proceeding kickstart, but we don't know what actually happened. But according to the legal representative, my client and by extension the legal team has no implicit confidence in the court to proceed on this case. So going forward, we are activating the process to hold my lord to rescue herself from this case so that the chief judge will give a directive to that effect. It is now open. It is open now, even before a layman on the street, it is clear that she's partial.
Frank, do you think that maybe if the judge had gone on to charge DSS with contempt, because if people, the lawyers are there to represent the person and you are stopping them, the judge has not said that stop them. Because when it comes to the court, it's the judge who is Lord overall. So do you think the DSS should be charged for contempt?
And I think the judge should make, the judge should be able to determine, should be able to make a ruling, because if these people have complained and the judge has not said anything, explicitly say, okay, I'm giving direction that this judge or his lawyers must be allowed in, and then I'll find it very problematic, because in this case, yes, he might say as these are my legal. It is in the judge's part to say yes, I want them to, or I accept them as part of it, and then whoever prevents them from entering will be breaching the court order. I think the judge should go that way. Besides what do you call it? The lawyers might have information that we do not know. Which is why there might be issues. A lot of things behind the scenes that you never can tell.
But well, we hope that even if she is taken away and another judge is put in place, will be somebody who will be looking at things holistically.
That's what we go for.
Wow. Okay, listen, let's start ready. You can. Now let's talk about this lady who died in prison in La Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, and then the fact that the federal government is now calling for answers for that. Well, we have the ECOWAS, we have I know they have that bilateral thing where they share information and stuff like that. But the way this person has been treated, whether the person was guilty, or somebody would say, so far as he's been imprisoned or has been found in prison, that means that they were guilty. Fine, let's take it like that. But the way they've taken care of that person in prison has not been right. And we don't see, it's not only peculiar to what is happening in Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, but across that sub-region. When you go to the prisons, to visit the prisons, and you see people who are in there, especially foreigners, the way we treat them, there's nothing good about it at all.
Well, you're quite right. This particular case has touched millions of Nigerians again, and now people are now looking at it to some other cases that have happened in the past. In 2019, somewhere around May, Nigerian government intervened quickly to a young woman that was stopped for bringing an illegal, painkiller, as you want to call it, to Saudi Arabia, which is not allowed. And that intervention means, she was not executed and she was brought back to Nigeria. So what has happened in this case? There was another 3 young men that had the same situation in Saudi Arabia, but they had their governor from the northern part that intervened quickly in that particular case. So now the question a lot of Nigerians are now asking, for some section of the country, is she, because she's from the southwest of the country, that this case was not properly looked into, even according to what the federal government is saying, that they've been on top of this for 5 months. She was not feeling very well because she's a diabetes. She was not given the right medication, and you need to only see some of the videos at the last breath of her life.
Wow, that's a sad one. Frank, do you think that maybe our countries can decide to say that, okay, this person, you found the person guilty in your country for blah, 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 and incarcerated the person. The countries there can say, okay, now we want the person back as our own citizen, let them come and serve sentence in our own country. Do you think that will solve the problem for us?
Actually, that might help, but our prisons are a bit choked, isn't it? Our prisons are a bit choked, so a lot of people might want, look, serve where you are, but it will be good if we can bring our brothers and sisters back to serve prison terms in the but even some of the prisoners, let's assume someone's convicted by here, would they want to go to a Nigerian prison?
No, they want to live in this hotel. Well, that's the question. Okay, let's go back to Yomi for the rest of the updates. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, like we did talk about it, trending on the social media this morning on Star Radio UK is hashtag NSAS, hashtag Lekki Massacre, hashtag DJ Switch rather. So let's quickly look at what people are talking about. Ifa Funshaw _ Funshaw graphics. DJ Switch was right at the long run. Shame on those who say there was no massacre. Shame on those who always defend politicians. Shame on Sanwo-Olu. Shame on Lai Mohammed, the soldier who led the squad to the NSAS at Lekki Tollgate must be persecuted. And that is from one of the comment right there. So let's quickly see where other comments are coming as well. Again, so much people are raged, with this outcome of the final, panel report that have just come out. Some of the names that we have, right here in terms of those that were affected, quite a lot of them, from what we have here, but we can only say, it's quite a lot of numbers of the names. Now let's look at this. Whether there was a massacre at Lekki Tollgate, I'm now looking at the report quickly. October 20, the atrocious maiming and killing of unarmed, helpless, unresistant protesters while sitting on the floor, waving their Nigerian flags, while singing the national anthem can be equated to a massacre in context. A massacre has been defined as killings of multiple individuals, which is condemned to be morally unacceptable, especially when perpetrated by political actors against defenseless victims. The panel considered whether what took place at the Lekki Tollgate on the 20th of October was a massacre according to the Learning Author of Merriam website online dictionary. One of the meaning of massacre is the act of instant of killing a number of unusually helpless or unresistant human beings under circumstances of atrocity. And that is what the meaning of massacre, which was agreed by the panel as well. So I'm going to come back again to you now in the studio, and we say thank you very much to those that have joined us on Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. But let me tell you some this in headlines that have just flashed up on my system pertaining to the Lekki Tollgate massacre and what do you call it, the reaction from people. Now, some people are calling for the federal government, following the revelation of the NSAS panel of investigation set up by the Lagos State government to unravel the incident of the Lekki Tollgate, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to sack and arrest Alhaji Laya Muhammad immediately. But the question is, would that happen?
I don't think so.
I don't think so myself.
Well, follow us on Starr UK.
He's gonna have another lie to stop the sacking of himself from the federal government. So he's gonna come up with another lie.
Oh, okay. He's going to come up with another lie, and then we'll go away. All right, Yomi, let's say thank you very much for this wonderful time with you. But before you go,
well, you don't have to go anywhere because you still have Frank and Archie to take you the remaining part of the segment of this program. But the best way to listen to us is download our apps on our social media handles. Do follow us and subscribe as well. The website remains www.starradiouk.com, where you have everything to talk about and everything that you can know with all the programs as well. Remember, when you're sending money home to Nigeria or African country, you send waves and the code is S for Star, R for Radio. For me now, I'll be back again same time tomorrow. Have a very good morning or good afternoon for those of you watching us from Nigeria.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. But wherever you are, don't you go away. It is a Tuesday edition of the morning show where we're going to continue. I'm going to bring you some song from Sonny Okuzo. And when I say about Sonny Okuzo, you know exactly what I'm going to be playing next. But this afternoon, exactly at 1:30,